Hello, everyone. I'm Dolnari Edersinga Aga, the Administrator for Parent University. Thank you for joining us today during these tough times. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, and we've had to adapt to many changes. Parent University has adapted, and now we will be bringing our guest speakers to you through video conferencing. I want to thank the Office of Multimedia Services for helping make this live stream possible, and I want to acknowledge our team, Rebecca Fast, our teacher of special assignment, and our two parent coordinators, Yolanda Huerta, bilingual Spanish, and Sam Kyo, bilingual Khmer. And I want to ask if you could be really patient with us if we have some technical difficulties. And I want to remind you that the comment section of YouTube will be open for questions, and Rebecca will be there to take your questions and ask our guest speaker the questions. So now I'm going to hand it off to Rebecca to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker. Thank you.
Thanks, Dolnari. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for coming to our Parent University workshop, this new way that we're doing university workshops via Zoom and with all of you at home. But like we did our Parent University workshops in the spring and in the fall, the comment section is open. So you can still ask questions and we will feed them to Ms. Womack. We're lucky today to have Ms. Womack. She is the Poly College and Career Counselor. So to the class of 2020, thank you for tuning in. We all know this isn't the way we envisioned the school year ending, but we want to make sure you all finish strong with all of your college prerequisites and meeting all the deadlines. So we're happy to really bring you this workshop here today. So I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Womack, our guest speaker from Poly. So Ms. Womack, it's all you, and parents, if you have questions, students, if you have questions, put them in the comment section and we'll make sure that she gets them. Okay? Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca and Dolnari. As Rebecca mentioned, my name is Sylvia Womack, and I am the College and Career Specialist at Long Beach Poly High School. I've been there 13 years now, and I absolutely love it. I'm kind of hard not being there now, especially as the end of the year comes around, but hopefully you guys at Poly have gotten support from our staff to get you through the days. And that's what my hope is today for those of you who are still uncertain of what to do next for your college plans, that this small presentation will help you in making those decisions that are right for you. So I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation and share my screen with you. As I go through, like I said, go ahead and put your questions in the chat box, and Rebecca will let me know, or I'll kind of chime in every so often to let you know or to see if there's any questions out there. So let's get started. All right, so today's presentation, talking about what are the final steps for our seniors. Things that we're going to be discussing are our four-year college students who have committed to the four-year universities, students who will be going on to community college, specifically Long Beach City College as well. We'll go into a few others, but we want to cover some of the requirements that Long Beach City College has out there right now for you to complete. And then finally, financial aid. Hoping that most of you have an idea of what type of financial aid award you've been given so far, and how do you move through that process in accepting the aid that's been offered to you. All right. Sorry. All right, so first one. So most of you who are attending a four-year university, you should have already submitted your intent to enroll and your enrollment fee that was on May 1st. Some of you may have had the enrollment fee waived due to some financial aid that you were given. If not, you were asked to give some kind of payment or enrollment fee. Hopefully, if you were in a situation where you could request some kind of deferment or payment plan, that still may be available to you. So you want to check with the university and see if that's an option. For students who may have been waitlisted for maybe their top school and committed to another school until they hear from that waitlisted school, if you are offered admissions to that waitlist school, you can accept their admissions, but you will have to pay an enrollment fee for that school as well. And most likely you will not get any kind of refund from the first school that you committed to. So just know that that's most likely what's going to happen if you do end up changing your mind and not going to the school that you committed and want to go to the waitlist school. Okay. If you do end up going to the waitlist school, please notify the school that you had committed to that you will no longer be attending their campus, so that they're able to make that space available to another student who would like to go to that campus. So just kind of a courtesy type of thing for you to do. Okay. Second step, you want to make sure you still satisfy the terms of your admissions. Okay, that means passing your classes for the senior year, especially the spring semester. This semester is very important because we are credit, no credit. You want to make sure that you get credit in all your A through G classes and any of the courses that you were making up second semester. So please make sure you still fulfill those courses so that you get credit in those courses. Again, all admissions to the universities are provisional, and if your admissions requirements must be met, or else your offer will be rescinded. Okay, so please make sure you follow through. I know it can get very lax and very easy to not do any of the work, or to take your time, or maybe not do any of the assignments that the teachers have assigned to you, but it's very important that you do complete what the requirements are for each of your teachers so that you do end up getting credit in your spring semester courses. Applying for housing. If you haven't already done so, you want to make sure that you apply for housing if you plan on living on campus. Some of you may have already done that. Again, some may have had a May 1st deadline to do that. But if the deadline is still there and you still need to complete that, please make sure you do that as soon as possible. Spacing will start to get smaller as time goes on, so you want to make sure that you submit that application as soon as possible. If you are not going to be living on campus because you live close to the university or close by within a certain proximity, you can decline living on campus, but you still have to do that through the application process. So you still need to go into the application and start the application, and then in the application there'll be a space where you can indicate that you will not be living on campus. So please make sure you do that if you're not planning to live on campus this coming school year. Okay, a housing deposit will be required for those who will be living on campus, and this deposit normally is not covered by financial aid. So please make sure you make the parents aware of what that deposit is. And then if possible, you could always contact the housing office at your university if finances are a concern. You can talk to the housing office about making a payment plan or setting up some kind of payment plan for that deposit. Okay. And then the deadlines for applying to housing, deadlines can vary from campus to campus. So make sure you check your school website, or maybe any emails that you might have gotten of when the deadline date is for your campus to submit your housing application. Then for some Cal States, or for Cal States, there's a program called Early Start. And in the past, it was an opportunity for some of our students to go on campus during the summertime who needed some remedial work or developmental coursework in English and math. And they would take those classes prior to the fall semester starting. Now, we don't know if that's going to happen for all the Cal States. It's still kind of in question, depending what happens when summertime comes around. But if you were notified that you have to take early start, you may want to find out if that's something that's still going to happen for your campus, or if it is, and if it is, how do you go about signing up for that? So check with your admissions office at your campus, or maybe there might be something on your portal that says that you need to sign up for that. So please look out for those of you who got that requirement. Okay. And like I said, you should have been notified at this point if you're a student who has to take an early start class or not. At this point, I'm going to just kind of see if there's any questions, if anybody has any concerns so far of what I brought up.
We only have a question so far about community college, whether it's too late to still sign up. So I know you're going to be addressing that in a little bit, but that's the only question so far. So
Okay,
keep going, Ms. Womack, you're all good.
Okay, good. So I'll go back to my presentation. Sorry, let's see. Okay, I apologize for that. It took a little bit longer than I wanted. All right, so let's keep going. Fifth step, make sure requesting of your transcripts. So once you've graduated, schools will request your official transcripts. And this is all done online through a website called Parchment. So on here, I put the link, and you can, when you go onto this presentation, you can click the link directly. It'll take you to that website. Students, you must create an account first and identify which schools you want or which school you want your transcript to go to. Okay. You can request that the transcripts be sent at the end of the school year. You can do that now. You don't have to wait till after you've graduated to request those transcripts. So if you wanted to just do one less thing after graduation, you can go in now and create your account and ask that your transcripts be sent at the end of the year. Transcript requests through Parchment are going to be processed through your school office. Someone at your high schools, an official there, will receive the request from Parchment, and then that official will send the transcript electronically to your college or university. Okay, so you can always check the status of the transcript request through your Parchment account. Okay, so it is something that the high schools do electronically, so that's something that you can always check on periodically once you've graduated if it's been sent out. I know that most of our high schools are pretty good about sending out transcripts by July 15th. So for most of you guys, I think the deadline is around then for the Cal States and UC. So in the past, they've always sent those applications or those transcripts prior to that deadline. So if you are getting closer to that date or closer to your deadline date for whichever school you're attending, and you haven't, there hasn't been any kind of notice that your transcripts have been received, you can always just check your Parchment account or even contact your high school office to see if they received your request. Okay. You can also request your own official transcript for yourself. So if you want to just keep that as a backup, it is official as long as it comes from Parchment. You can have that emailed to yourself and have it available to send to a school if you need to. But I just want to let you know that there is that option as well. So one can come from the school, or it can come, or you can get one for yourself as well. All right, student orientations. So every student must go through an orientation to get familiarized with the school, what's coming up with this new school year. So many changes are happening. So it's really important that you sign up for those orientations now. You should have received an email about when those dates have opened. Most Cal State's dates have already opened. So if you haven't checked your email yet or haven't seen that yet, please go through your email and make sure that you sign up. You can also go through your student portal for that campus to sign up for a student orientation. For most schools, it's called SOAR, SOAR. So look for that in your portal, or again, check through your email to see how you can go about signing up for those orientations.
So again, dates and times will start to fill up, so don't wait till the last minute. So at these orientations, basically you'll get an orientation to the campus. My understanding is that for now, I'm not sure if it's going to be all done online or if it's going to be in person. Again, we'll know more. I think you'll know more as a date gets closer for those summer dates, how that's all going to work. But in general, the orientations are basically an introduction to the campus, possibly learn a little bit more about your major, and definitely you'll be talking to a counselor about what classes you should be registering for the fall. Okay, so it's really important that you attend those dates so that you can get your classes for the fall semester. Again, dates will be determined and how they're going to be doing it, whether it's online or in person. I think you'll start to hear more about that from each of the schools. Okay. 7, check your portal daily. Okay, it's really important that you check that student portal daily because every day things are coming in, new changes, new requirements, maybe new things that you have to submit. There's especially a section in your portal, which is a to-do list section. In this section, there might be documents that are required from you, income information, maybe deadline dates on there. Immunization records if they haven't gotten that kind of stuff. So please, please, please make sure you check your portal daily to see if there's any type of documentation needed from you at this point. Okay, whether it be information for financial aid or something from your admissions office. Okay, that kind of thing. So check your portals daily. Don't delay on that kind of stuff. Don't forget to do that. Okay. All right, so community colleges. Any questions about community college? Or I'm sorry, any questions about what we just talked about, the four-year university? No? Okay.
We have a couple of questions on funding, and I don't know if you want to hold them till later or if you want to ask them now, but we had a couple questions asking about the Parent Plus school loan.
Okay.
We had a question, and I'm not sure, Ms. Womack, if you would know this, but we had a couple of questions about the funding for parents who may have lost their job during COVID-19, and if there's going to be any special grants or special loans for that. So those are 2 questions that have come through. There's lots of questions regarding LBCC, but I'm going to hold those till after you give your presentation.
Okay, and then we are going to be covering some financial aid stuff at the end. But as of any special funding for COVID circumstances, I don't know of any specific funding, but I do know that the universities are willing to work with families who are in those situations where there is some financial hardship because of COVID.
Right.
And so my suggestion to those families would be to reach out to those schools directly, talk to their admissions office, talk to an enrollment office, and see what kind of aid they can assist you with, whether it be a payment plan or a deferment plan. But it's something that a parent and student must reach out individually and seek out, because I don't know if there's anything coming from the federal government at this time to aid in that sense for college.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right, let me get back to my page again. All right, so community colleges. So the nice thing about community colleges is that there is no deadline date for community colleges and there are no application fees. So students can still apply to the community colleges at this point. It's one general website. If you go onto this link, it would be the CCC Apply website, where you create an account on there and then you select which school you would like to apply to. So anytime you can do that, if you're still kind of in that situation where you haven't decided if you're going to go to community college or not, there's always time to apply. It's never too late to apply to community college. The second thing you do want to make sure you do is, if you are applying, is to submit a FAFSA or a DREAM Act. Again, it's not too late to submit for either form of financial aid. There are other aid out there besides the Cal Grant that you might be able to qualify for. So if you are going to be applying to a community college, please make sure you fill out either one. FAFSA is for our U.S. citizens and permanent resident students, and then our DREAM Act is the DREAM Act application is for our undocumented students who have attended a school in the U.S. for at least 3 years or more. Okay, so please make sure you do both if you're going that route to the community college. Then once you've done those two, you'll have a communication from your college as to what the next steps will be. So you'll check your email. They'll send you steps on how to possibly register for your classes, meet with a counselor, maybe attend an orientation. Each community college is different on how they run their programs. So once you've done your application, you should definitely check your email to see what the next steps will be to complete the application or enrollment process at that community college. Okay. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to talk specifically about Long Beach City. So for Long Beach City, steps 1 and 2 are pretty much what I just discussed in doing your application and doing your financial aid. With Long Beach City College, they do email you your Viking ID number within 24 to 48 hours of submitting your application. So once you receive that Viking ID number, you need to set up your Viking Portal, okay? And in this portal, you have to complete 3 different steps. So steps A, B, and C are required for you to complete, okay? So in this presentation, I've also included instructions on how to do each of these tasks. So you can download those flyers. They're part of the attachments on the YouTube as well if you wanted to download them. But the important thing is to get this Viking Portal set up and complete steps A, B, and C. So the guided placement tool is basically identifying which English and math courses you're currently enrolled in and what you've received last semester as a letter grade, and where you are with that class. Your participant agreement is saying that you are participating in the College Promise 2.0, that you are interested in the free tuition. So you want to make sure you go through that and complete that agreement. And then finally, there's an orientation that you have to watch online. It's a video that you have to watch, and you have to pay close attention because they do give you a small quiz at the end, and you have to pass it with, I believe, 75 or 80% of that quiz. So please make sure when you're watching the video, it's something that you pay attention to and get that completed as soon as possible. So once you receive your ID, you can go in, create your portal, and complete all these steps in one day if you wanted to. So once you've done that and you've completed the orientation, you completed your orientation and all the steps above it, give it about a day or two for the system to reload and apply those tasks to your account. Because then by then, once you've done that, you can set up a meeting with the LBCC counselor. It is done via over the phone. And there's a handout in here as well. We'll get to that. So this is basically the instructions on how to apply to Long Beach City College, how to create your application, just some ways to keep track of all your information, your log information. So you'll do your application. This is some steps on how to do that. This next handout is how to create your Viking Portal. So these are some nice little tips on how to do that and get you started. And then these are the different steps on how to do the guided placement tool. Again, identifying your English classes, math classes, what you've done or what you've completed so far. Okay. And then these next 2 slides are the agreement steps on how to satisfy the agreement steps. And then finally, the orientation, how to do the orientation online and where you would find that. Okay. And this last slide is where you would go to the link at the bottom to sign up for your phone appointment with the counselor. Um, the nice thing is that they've extended the deadline to June 30th. It was originally May 11th, which is on Monday. But the nice thing is that they have extended the deadline to June 30th. So you have some time to get this all in so that you can get all your um, information, get everything in to be able to get your classes. Okay. So even though the deadline or they've extended to June 30, I wouldn't wait until June 30th because um, priority registration is actually going to be held on June 2nd. If you look here at these important dates schedule, um, June 2nd is when priority registration will happen. I think it's on here. That's registration. Maybe it's not on this one. I'm not sure if it's on this one. Might be a different one. But you want to try and get it all done so that you can participate in early registration, which will be June 2nd, like I mentioned. Okay. So complete all the steps. Speak with the counselor on the phone. They'll do a small revised version of what your ed plan will be for the spring semester or for the fall semester, and identify what classes you should be taking for the fall. And then you'll be given a date as to when, or then on June 2nd, you can go in and register for your classes. Okay. All right. All right, so before we get to this next slide, let me get back to what questions we might have. If I can answer those of you that have questions specifically about Long Beach City College.
Hi, Ms. Womack. I think you did answer most of the questions.
Okay.
We had a couple about if you could review maybe the link to the Viking Portal, how they would get to that.
Okay.
And then a couple questions about the Long Beach College Promise and how that plays into it. So if you could maybe review the College Promise and the Viking Portal.
Okay. So then, let me go back here. So this is, so here's where you would find the Viking Portal. You can go onto this link here. We click on it, it'll take you to the link directly. So a student would basically put the ID number that they were given, that they were emailed, and then we'll hit forgot password and then start the process, follow the remaining steps on how to create your password. You can also just go to the Viking, go to Long Beach City's website and just type in Viking Portal. And that's another way how you can access that particular slide or particular link. If you follow the steps in the handout, it's pretty straightforward on how to get there. So, and then as far as the College Promise, as long as you complete all those steps that I mentioned prior, these here, so these 3 plus these 3 and this last one, so 7 really, you can participate in early registration, which will be June 2nd. So, and you will basically get 2 years of free tuition at Long Beach City as long as you enroll there right after high school graduation. You have to graduate from high school, and you have to have met all these steps, completed all these steps that are listed here. So if you didn't apply for FAFSA or DREAM Act, but you've done everything else, you need to make sure you go in and apply for FAFSA or DREAM Act. You can't be part of Promise if you don't do the FAFSA or the DREAM Act. So all these steps need to be completed. to be eligible for the promise. And then once you're at the campus, you do have to maintain a 2.0 GPA and have to be enrolled in at least 12 units a semester. Okay. All right, so I'll move on since those were the two questions. Let's move on to the next slide. I did want to mention just these two other additional resources that Long Beach City has coming up. So in addition to, you know, the resources or what you can do right now to prepare for registration, if you happen to miss the June 2nd deadline and you don't get everything done by June 2nd, they have these LBCC Express Days where you can do everything all in one sitting on one day via Zoom, I believe, and still communicate with the counselor and get your classes on the dates that are listed on this flyer. The only would say downfall to doing that is, you know, the later you wait, the less maybe opportunity you may have to get the classes that you want. Okay, so these are the dates that they have identified as these express days. So if you happen to not get everything done by the deadline, you can always participate in the express days to, you know, get your classes and meet with your counselor. And then the other flyer is their Viking Summer Voyage. This is a 2-week program where students will Zoom in for 2 weeks for classes. Usually it's an on-site activity, but because of everything that's happening, they're going to do it online, where you will, you know, learn about different ways to get prepared for going to college, maybe taking a couple of courses to help you prepare for college, either English or math. So I would recommend this program to students who are still feeling a little bit uncertain of their abilities in writing or math. I think it'll help you definitely strengthen your skills in those areas. And the nice part about participating in these, in the summer voyage, is that I believe students will receive a $500 stipend at the end of the completion of the program, so that you can help pay for your books. So that's a nice incentive for students to participate in that program. So those, you can actually sign up for those now. You do need a Viking ID number, so you have to at least have that to sign up for the voyage. And I believe maybe have to have finished some of the other steps as well. So once you log in, you'll see what the requirements are to be able to register for those courses, okay, or those different activities. All right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about financial aid. Most of you should have already or should have an idea of what kind of financial aid you're being awarded for the school that you're attending. The most important thing that I want to kind of highlight is your Cal Grant. For those of you that may have qualified for a Cal Grant, it's really important that you go into this website here and create an account, okay? Now this grant is specifically for students who are attending a California institution, whether it be a 4-year, 2-year, private or trade school, okay? And you, at this point, should have already been notified if you were awarded a Cal Grant, either through email or a letter from the Student Aid Commission. If you're not quite sure if you have, you can just go into this website here and check it by putting in your social security number and a few other personal information, and they'll let you know if you qualified for a Cal Grant. Okay. If you need help on creating a Cal Grant, or you need some step-by-steps, I linked a little video here that's pretty straightforward on doing that. So that's a nice way to get that done. Okay. Then once you've created your account, you can go in there and identify which campus you will be attending. Since you've already decided or may have already decided which campus you're attending, it's important that you go in there and make sure that that school is listed. It may already have been on there as a school of your choice, but if it's not, you do need to go in and change it, okay? And then the only other task that you'll have to do is once you graduate, you will need to go back into your account and confirm your graduation, okay? So again, this is the link here, and you can just click on it directly. It'll take you straight to that website. Next one, make sure you check your campus student portal, okay? There are two different links on the portal that will identify your financial aid. So there's one link on the portal that says financial aid award. And this specific link just tells you exactly how much aid you'll be receiving for that academic year. So for the 2021 academic year. It will break it down by semester or by quarter, and it tell you, how much you make or how much you'll get over the entire year. So that's just kind of an overview of the award. But then there's there's another link called FA Accept or Decline, and this is a link where you go in and actually accept what aid you want to accept, okay, or what aid you want to decline that's being offered to you. So let's talk a little bit about. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what would be the best aid to accept and or decline. All right, so on your portal, on your financial aid accept or decline, you're going to have different types of grants. So you might have grants like a Cal grant, a Pell grant, maybe a SEOG grant, maybe a state university grant, anything that has a grant attached to it. Those are monies that you want to accept. This is free money you don't have to pay back. So you definitely want to accept that type of money. The other form of aid that can be on there are scholarships. Again, money you don't have to pay back, and these can be scholarships that the university itself or the institution itself offers you, or maybe even a private donor has deposited an amount into your account at the school. So those are the ones you want to definitely accept. The third form of financial aid is work study. This can be either an accept or decline. That's up to you. The way the work study works is that it's basically a lump sum of money that a student is awarded, but you do have to work towards receiving that money. It's not just given to you automatically like a grant or a scholarship. So you will find a job either on or around campus, and they will pay you from that work study money. Okay, so it all depends if you're a student who wants to work during school, while you're in school. If it's some type of aid that you can either live or live without, that's something that you'll have to kind of decide on your own. But that's another form of financial aid that doesn't have to be paid back once you earn it. And you can also learn some really good workplace skills if you do end up working while you're in school. And then the final type of aid are loans. So again, you can accept or decline these loans. This is money that you or your parent will have to pay back. So they might offer you a loan specifically to the student, and or they might offer you a parent plus loan. Either way, the monies do have to get paid back, okay? So there are some subsidized loans, which means the interest is kind of put on hold while you're going to school. So interest does not accrue while you're in school. Typically, it accrues like 6 months after you graduated from college. And it might be a little bit different nowadays, but it won't accrue until after you graduated college. So that's something, if you wanted to do, you could take out and not have to pay it back until after graduated. And then there's this unsubsidized loan, which the interest does accumulate while you're in college. So that one, you'll have to not only pay back what you borrowed, but on top of the interest of that loan. And again, it doesn't have to be paid back while you're in school. You can wait until after you've graduated if you wanted to start paying that back. But if you wanted to start paying it while you're in school, that's something that's also available to you if you wanted to. The institution itself may also have some loans, okay? And then there might be private loans that may become available to you, like loans from either a credit card, or if your parents end up taking out a second mortgage or something like that. We don't really recommend those types of loans just because the interest rate on those kinds of loans tend to be a lot higher than the loans that are offered through financial aid. So in the end, really, you're not paying back as much of what you're borrowing. So, but we know everybody's situation is different. So if you have to pay or take out a private loan, then that's something you and your family will discuss and see what would be best for for everybody. But if at all possible, if you're able to qualify for the loans that are offered through your financial aid award, those are really going to end up being the best for you, and not having as much interest to pay back. Okay. Then with the Parent Plus loan, this is a loan only for parents. With this loan, though, it is credit based. So depending on what the parent's credit is like, will determine if the loan will be awarded or be allowed to be taken out by the parent. So it all is credit based for the Parent Plus loan. Um, and again, once you, let's say you apply for that, you'll be given information on how it has to get paid back, what kind of interest will be on top of that loan. So just know that it will be under your parents' name. It'll be their responsibility to pay it back, and then any loans in your name will also be your responsibility to pay back, and will be effective of your affect your credit specifically. All right, I think right there I'll stop to see if there's any questions on the stuff I just covered.
Hi, Ms. Womack. There were a couple of questions.
Okay.
We did have a question who was asking again about the Parents Plus program. And yes. I'm not familiar with that. I'm not sure if you are familiar with the Parents Plus loan.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another question. Is there a phone number or someone to talk to if they have questions about FAFSA?
So I would say if you are needing to get started on the FAFSA, I would say reach out to your college and career center specialists. They're all still working via email. So I would say send them an email and see if you can talk to them either over the phone or do a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as a Parent Plus loan, is it a specific question about the loan, or just what I just covered recently? Was that sufficient as far as it being a credit check loan based on a parent's credit?
Let me go back and try. I think it was just some general information about the Parents Plus loan.
Okay.
Yeah, but so otherwise we're good. You're covering a lot of their questions in your presentation.
Okay, good. So I'll head back to the presentation. We're almost done.
Oh, actually her question was for the Parents Plus loan. Where does she go?
It's a loan that the student has to be offered. I don't believe you can apply for it on your own, but if you want to inquire about possibly being it offered, if it's not on your student's award letter, I would reach out to the school's financial aid office and see if that's something that they would offer you.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just so you have an understanding of what the financial aid award letter consists of. So basically, it's you want to look at the cost of attendance that it is to go to that university, and you want to minus that from the amount of financial aid being offered. Okay, once you do that calculation, you will know exactly if all your cost to that school is being covered, or if only a certain portion is being covered, and if there's going to be some kind of cost to the student. So once you figured out that calculation, you'll kind of have an idea if where you stand with financial aid.
I have a social.
Students should always, like I said, accept any kind of free money like grants and scholarships. You don't have to accept the full amount of the loans if you're being offered a loan. So let's say you do your calculation and you realize that most of your grants and work study and scholarships cover your aid, but you may need like an additional $2,000 just to help you with books, and you're being offered a $5,000 loan, you can just take out $2,000 of that loan. You don't have to accept the full amount. So once you accept it on the accept and decline link of your student portal, you accept the full amount, but when you go to take the money out, you can let your financial aid office know that you only need a portion of that $5,000. Okay. Also, again, students can always contact their financial aid office to make any kind of adjustments to their awards, especially if there is a financial setback because of COVID-19. You can definitely inform the financial aid office that there's been a change in income, either prior to or even after because of COVID-19. Let them know that there's been a financial hardship and they could possibly adjust your award letter so that you can qualify for more aid. Okay. And then attached a video on just how to understand your financial aid award. You can go onto that video. It's very nice, kind of how to separate the amounts and see, maybe even compare the amounts to the amounts that you're being received or given. I'm sorry. Then again, scholarships are always available. Always check your college and career center websites to see what scholarships they have listed online on their websites. So don't stop applying for scholarships just because you're not in the center. The web scholarships are out there. You know, the money's available to you, so you can always apply for those scholarships directly, or you can also just go on to different websites and create portals for yourself and see what scholarships are available to you. And then kind of finally, I just put some additional resources for you guys for different campuses, specifically Cal State Long Beach, steps that they have kind of outlined for incoming freshmen. It's a nice, helpful website to do that. The UCs have one, Cerritos College, El Camino, and Orange Coast College. All right, I think we're done. I'm not sure if there's any questions that have come in since our last break.
Hi, Sylvia. We do have a question here.
Okay.
It's from a student who has a parent who does not have a social security number.
Okay.
If a parent does not have a social security number, are they still able to complete the FAFSA paperwork? It's asking for a social security number, and their parents don't have one, so they're not quite sure what to do.
Yeah, as long as the student, if a student has a social security number, they would apply for the FAFSA. If they don't have, a student doesn't have a social security number, they will apply for the DREAM Act. A parent's citizenship status does not have any bearing on whether a student can apply for financial aid. So it just depends if the student is a citizen or permanent resident, or if they're not, then they would do the DREAM Act. So yes, they can definitely still apply for financial aid. They would just need to make sure they apply for the right application, whether it be FAFSA or DREAM Act.
Okay.
And if they do ask for parents' social security number, all they would put would be zeros for the parents' information.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's all the questions that have come through. I believe you answered most of them.
Okay.
A lot of questions about knowing which classes to take in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
They should see their counselor regarding that, yes?
Right, so they can talk to the counselor either through their, if they're going to Long Beach City, when they have that one-on-one telephone conversation, they can talk to the counselor about that, or they can reach out to the university that they're attending when they attend their orientation. That's one of the subjects that they'll be talking about is the classes for the fall.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other questions out there? We have been getting a lot that have been coming in. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Any other questions you would like to ask Ms. Ms. Womack while we have her here? There's a question about the cost of university, but I don't think anything that would be addressed to the whole group. I think we're good, Ms. Womack. I think
Yeah.
we're good.
I would just tell that student, if they're interested, just go onto that school's website and can just type in the search cost of attendance, and it should pop up exactly how much it would go to the school.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Long Beach Unified, for tuning in. This presentation is going to be archived on our lbschools.net website. If you go to lbschools.net and then you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see the YouTube link. And when you go to YouTube, you can go to the Parent University playlist. This presentation will be there in about 3 to 5 days. It will be in English, it will be in Spanish, and it will be in Khmer. And all of the documents, all of the handouts are all also going to be linked there. So if you have any questions or if you want to rewatch this, I know there was a lot of good information here, you can always log in at a later date. So we're going to log off. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Thank you, Ms. Womack, for your time and all of your expertise. And have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.